Are you ready to explore some on-the-edge card making with dies and pattern papers? Then you are at the right place. Hello and welcome to Karen's Creative Cards on YouTube. I am Karen Hashik and I love to play with unique dies to make unique cards. I recently discovered the Made to Surprise Creative Cuts collection of dies from Sam Calcott at the Paper Wishes website. There are 3 sets in her collection and I purchased 2. I got the Curves and Squares die set and I also got the Circles and Tall Arrows die set. Now these dies are tall. They're a good 7+ inches each one of them, and so they do not fit into most die cutting machines in the way they were intended. So the width of most, at least mine and many of the die cutting machines, the width is typically 6 inches. And to create a folded edge on a 5x7 card, it would not fit into mine. So let me show you that, for example. So if this is a 5x7 card and you want to cut and make the die cut on the edge, which is what is done in a lot of these cards, what you do is you fold the card in half and you die cut this die right down the center. Well, this will not go through a typical die cutting machine this way because it's too wide, and you can't do it the other way either. So I'm going to share with you some tips and some workarounds for this and show you different ways that you can easily make beautiful cards with these dies that just, aren't maybe as big. For one thing, I used the both the circles, I'll show you that one, the circles and the tall arrows die set to make mini slimline cards. So I used also beautiful papers, 6x6 pattern papers from Paper Wishes, and this one is the lilacs. They have the wildflowers, the blue persuasion, and the tulips and butterflies. And I used those pattern papers in almost all the cards that I'm sharing with you. So we'll start with these mini slimlines. I was able to have them, I think that's 6 inches. Let's see. Yeah, I cut them 6 by 6, and I die cut that right down the middle and then added an extra piece there, and I made a matching mini slimline envelope using a die from Cat Scrappiness. And then I made this really cute one. This was with the tall arrows, and this is with the circles dies from this set. And again, it's a mini slimline. This bow and matching stamps are from the Greetery. And of course, links will be to my blog posts with all the details on the cards shown are in the description box, as well as links to the featured products. There's also a link there to a very good video by the Paper Wishes, they call them the Webisode, and I learned many of the tips that I'm showing in these cards on that video. So here's how easy it is to make these mini slimline edger cards. So I have a 6x6 pretty paper from Paper Wishes, and I took the circle die and I die cut it right along the center, which is scored. And then you just take these pieces, you actually should start here, okay. So we're going to fold down on each one of these. And then you're just going to lift this up and tuck these pieces under. And then we would simply fold on the scored line. And you have that, I would trim that off, that beautiful edge on there. And then you can choose to just, I mean, this is too dark to write on, so I simply added a piece of lilac cardstock there and left a little border, and we have a very beautiful mini slimline card created really easy with that edger die. Another easy way to use these dies is to cut them right down the center of a card. So again, what we're trying to do is keep our papers, our width, less than 6 inches or less. So I just took a piece of 6x-inch pattern paper, and these are two-sided pattern papers, and I cut it right down the center, and then I put the letters on there to make this into a really pretty thanks card. And I'll show you how to do that. Now I used the squares on this one, and I die cut it again right down the center. And then you fold, and because it's two-sided, can you see that pretty flower paper showing up when you fold them down? This one I'm not going to fold in half, but I am going to tuck it. So you take this and you tuck it under, and see how easy that they come together and make just really unique features for your card. And what you can also do is take, there's one of them that cuts out, and I can take this and I can attach it so that, let's see, it would be this way. Anyway, you can attach it and have this last one be completed as well. And so you can see what a pretty look that is, and how easy it is to get that using these dies. They're Kreative Cuts dies. Now here's a couple more cards that I completed. This one is using the larger, I think it's called circle die, and I just put a ribbon down the center, and again I just cut it in the center of the pretty pattern paper. And then this one I took two pieces of 6x6 designer paper, and I cut it and scored it on the edge, and you can see that I put those two pieces together and made a gatefold card. So isn't that pretty? I used a little magnet to hold it closed. There's a magnet hiding there. That beautiful paper and that scored edge die on both sides. Later I'm going to share some more cards that I made with edger dies from other companies, so be sure to stick around for that. The simplest thing to do with an edger die like this one is to cut a strip right out of two-sided cardstock or designer paper, and then do the folding and tucking as I've shown you, and just have a really pretty edge on that card. I recently learned about the floating element or strips technique, and I thought it would be really pretty with this pattern paper from Paper Wishes, and so I'm going to combine those two techniques and make this card with you. So I've taken the V's or arrows, I think it's called arrows, and I cut a strip of cardstock that was it's 6x6, and I cut it 1.5 inches wide, and then I cut the this V strip out of it, and I started folding them down. I mean, you know, doing the folding, and then I'm going to do the tucking. So again, very, very easy to do. And the two-sided paper has that really cool look to it. So that piece is ready to go. I've taken a cardstock that's 5 3/4 by tall by 5 1/4 wide, so it's 10 1/2 folded in half, and I embossed it with the Simon Says Stamp 3D embossing folders. So I have some texture there for the background. And then I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to glue it along the side and then trim it. So these edger dies can make really pretty edge pieces very easily. Especially using the two-sided designer paper. I'll trim it along the edge here. And our card is started. To do the floating elements technique, I have taken a piece of acetate and I've made it slightly bigger than the circle that I want to die cut. I've cut pieces of that pretty designer paper from Paper Wishes in the blue roses, and I've cut some strips a 1/2 inch and some are a 1/4 inch, and I'm alternating that. So I have a 1/2, a 1/4, a 1/4, a 1/2, a 1/2, a 1/4, and then my next piece is going to be a 1/2 inch one. I'm using dots adhesive to attach this. Glue doesn't really work well on acetate, and the dots adhesive, I like them because it just basically goes where you want it to go without a lot of excess on the sides. We want to leave a little opening in between each one of those pieces, and this is again going to be like a floating element or floating strips piece. And I just like it so much that I'm going to experiment with some more shapes and come back with another video probably next week using this technique that I've seen done on Pinterest and people's blogs, and I just think it's a really pretty look and can be used in many different ways for really unique looks. And of course I like any kind of technique that I can do with my dies and pretty papers. So that part is done. Then I'm just going to take a circle die. This is just one of the Tonics circle, just a plain circle die, and I'm going to cut a piece right out of the middle here. I have my die cutting machine over here on the side and can't really do that on camera. So our circle is die cut, and then you want to raise this up, and the easiest thing to use for that are adhesive skinny strips. So it doesn't have to be in every single part of this, but what I like to do is choose like 3 on the center, and then use the excess piece down here on the bottom. I think I'll put one there too, and then just see, that's gonna lay pretty nice. Take the top adhesive pieces off. And then this is going to go centered here with the embossed leaves coming off of that. See how it's called floating because you can see through those openings, and it's a really cool look. I have a Thinking of You, which is part of a set from Tonic Studios. I put adhesive on the back of it so that it will stay easily. And so we'll remove the backing on that. I'll put that down here. Thinking of You. And then I have a leafy sprig from Gina Marie Designs, and first I was going to put silver, and then I thought that didn't stand out enough, and so I took a navy and I put them together offsetting, and I really like that look. So I have adhesive on the back of this as well, but I don't want the top and the bottom to stick, so I think I'm going to neutralize that with some powder here. And just attach that along there. And our card is complete. We have our gorgeous edger dies there, our floating circle with a pretty sprig, Thinking of You, and embossing. I like to emboss throughout the whole card, so you have a debossing look and a little embossing there, and then I put in a rectangle where I could write a message and sign it. I have a few other edger dies that I've gotten recently, so I made a few more cards. This top card is a piano music, Lost in the Music die set from Paper Discoveries, and so it is an easel card, and it uses both of those edger dies. This is the musical notes one, and then it stands up, and we have a piano keyboard there. Celebrate, using again edger dies in a unique way. Then I got the Gemini Tulips, Spring Tulips border die set, and I created a slimline, so you can see you can make all different size cards here. I have slimline, mini slimline, square. In this case, because it was a longer die, I made a pretty slimline card with putting some paper piecing of the tulips in there with pretty floral cardstock. And then this is a mini slimline, and first I cut it out of the pattern paper, and then I cut it out of the green. So I had 2 pieces sitting there, so I decided not to let them go to waste. And another pretty edger in this case mini slimline cards. So do you love dies as much as me? I am die cut crazy, and I had so much fun designing with my new edger dies. For many more card making ideas featuring dies, click on the next video coming up and have some fun being creative sometime soon.